Buenos días. Con motivo de las primarias, las cuales se llevarán a cabo el día 26 de abril de este año, WLCH, Radio Centro y Telecentro han producido segmentos especiales titulados Camino a las primarias de Pensilvania. Este año se va a elegir a un congresista por el Distrito 16 de Pensilvania. Este distrito incluye gran parte del condado de Lancaster, partes del condado de Chester y una pequeña sección del condado Berks, incluyendo a la ciudad de Reading. El congresista actual, Joe Pitt, indicó que se iba a retirar a finales de este año. Se abrió la oportunidad para que personas pudieran postularse como candidatos. Cuando se hicieron las invitaciones para estas entrevistas, habían 2 demócratas y 2 republicanos quienes se habían postulado para representar a su partido en las primarias. Luego de enviar las invitaciones y citarlos a las entrevistas, uno de los candidatos republicanos nunca contestó y el otro de los demócratas quedó fuera de la papeleta por errores en sus peticiones electorales. A los candidatos que respondieron a nuestra petición se les hicieron las mismas preguntas.
With the upcoming Pennsylvania primary that will be held on April 26, WLCH Radio and Telecentro have produced some segments titled Road to the Pennsylvania Primary. This year, the voters in the 16th Congressional District of Pennsylvania will elect a congressperson. This district includes a large part of Lancaster County, a part of Chester County, and a small section of Berks County, including the city of Reading. The current congressman of the 16th Congressional District, Mr. Joe Pitts, announced that he would not be seeking re-election. Thus, this opened up an opportunity for individuals to be candidates. When our invitations were sent out for the interviews, there were 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans that had entered the primary seeking the office. After the invitations were sent out and we were scheduling interviews, 1 Republican candidate never responded to our invitation, and 1 Democratic candidate was dropped from the ballot due to problem with his petitions. The candidates that agreed to be interviewed were asked the same questions.
Hoy tenemos la entrevista con uno de los candidatos republicanos al Congreso. Él es el actual senador estatal Lloyd Smucker. La ha representado el distrito senatorial número 13 de Pensilvania desde el año 2009. Las preguntas se hicieron en inglés y español. El senador Smucker contestará en inglés y su intérprete, la señora Cynthia Catherine, presentará su respuesta en español.
Today we have one of the Republican candidates, that's Senator Lloyd Smucker, who is the senator from the 13th Senatorial District, and he has represented that district since 2009. Our questions will be asked in Spanish and in English. Senator Smucker will respond in English, and his interpreter, Cynthia Kettering, will present his responses in Spanish.
Primeramente, senador, queremos saber un poco de usted y por qué aspira a ser congresista.
Can you provide a brief background about yourself and why do you want to be the congressperson?
Sure, happy to. So first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I was born and raised here in Lancaster County. I was born, actually, just a very brief background, into an Amish family.
Okay.
My parents left the old order Amish when I was 5 years old. I was number 10 of 12 kids. I was the first in my family to attend high school. So I understand the value and the importance of education. The Amish tradition, formal education, ends in 8th or 9th grade. I knew I wanted more than that. I approached my parents with the idea. At first they said no, but eventually agreed on 2 conditions. I attend a private Christian school. I'm a graduate of Lancaster Mennonite here in Lancaster County. And 2, I pay the tuition that comes with attending a private school. So I worked at night hanging drywall to earn my way through high school. Right after high school, I bought that business. It was a very small company from an older brother who wanted to move on to other things. Operated a business, raised a family here in Lancaster County for the next 25 years. And we grew that company into a regional contracting firm.
El senador agradece a todos por estar aquí y él explica que nació en Lancaster County y viene de una familia Amish. A los 5 años los padres decidieron no continuar como Amish y él era el número 10 de 12 niños. Él es el primero en su familia en que fue a high school, pero los padres no querían que vaya a la escuela. Entonces, como él entendía el valor de la educación, los convenció a los padres que lo manden a la escuela, pero con dos condiciones. La primera es que tenía que ir a una escuela privada cristiana, entonces él fue a Lancaster Mennonite. Y la segunda, que él mismo tenía que pagar por su educación. Entonces lo que él hizo es que trabajaba en las noches instalando drywall, que es las paredes estas que se ponen en las casas, y así pagó por su escuela. Y luego él compró una compañía y por 25 años él operó ese negocio y tiene una familia grande.
So I had the great fortune of operating that company for 25 years, and we grew it into a regional contracting firm with over 150 employees at the time I sold my interest. Decided then to run for state senate. I had served as a township supervisor and found I very much enjoyed that. When my predecessor in the state senate retired, I had a number of community leaders come to me and suggest that I run for that position.
Entonces, su compañía, por la cual operó 25 años, la creció a ser regional, una compañía de construcción. Tenía 150 empleados, la cual después la vendió y empezó pues a querer ser candidato y empezó como supervisor del township, que es como de la ciudadela, hasta que llegó al Congreso 13.
Okay. So I've served in the state senate for the past 8 years. And it's been a wonderful privilege of mine to do so. This is a great area to represent. It's not only a diverse district in terms of the people who live here, it's diverse in terms of the district that I currently represent. It includes Lancaster City, so it's an urban area. It includes the suburban areas around the city, and then some very rural areas in the southern part of Lancaster County as well.
Él ha sido senador estatal por los pasados 10 años. Es una área que él considera grandiosa de representar. Es diversa no solo en la ciudad, sino también en el suburbio y la parte rural que queda en el sur de la ciudad de Lancaster.
I decided to run for Congress because it's been such a wonderful experience to represent this area in Harrisburg, and I would love the opportunity to do that in Washington as well. But I decided to do that because I think there are some very critical issues that we need to be addressing concerning our country's future.
Debido a que ha sido una experiencia muy buena estar en Harrisburg, él le gustaría ahora ir a Washington, y la razón es porque hay cosas pasando que son muy críticas que él sabe que puede ayudar y hacer un cambio.
Two primary issues I'll mention at the beginning here. One is I'm concerned about the security of our country. We today know that we have groups like ISIS, radical Islam, out to destroy us. And I'm not sure that over the past 7 years we have put together a plan to defeat them as I think we should.
Él menciona que hay dos cosas primarias que se quería enfocar. Una es la seguridad de nuestro país, debido a que ISIS y el grupo radical de Islam están afuera para destruirnos. Él piensa que no se ha hecho suficiente para combatir este caso.
Para nuestra próxima pregunta, para nuestras áreas urbanas en Pensilvania y a través de los Estados Unidos, ¿cómo podemos crear un futuro viable donde se pueda promover progreso y desarrollo económico?
Going into some issues here, for our urban areas in Pennsylvania and around the United States, how do we create a viable future for them and promote progress and economic development?
A great question, and it's an area that I've focused on in my position in Harrisburg and would continue to focus on in Washington. Number one, there are unique challenges to our urban areas in terms of the needs they have and in terms of some of the folks who live in our urban areas, but yet the urban cores are so important to the broader community, and particularly in Lancaster City is so important to the county and the health of the county at large.
Él explica que él ha sido muy bueno enfocarse en Harrisburg y en Washington, la parte urbana, y que existen muchos desafíos por las personas que viven en esta parte urbana y que él sabe que se puede promover el progreso.
So in Harrisburg, just two things I'll mention. I've proposed laws, and we passed laws that will provide for tax dollars generated through new development to come back into the city and to the authority, which we call the CRIZ here, to spur and encourage development, new development in the city.
Están tratando de pasar una ley que dice the law is already passed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. La ley ya pasó, obviamente, acerca de proveer tax dollars, que dice como impuestos que generan para el negocio y que regresan a la ciudad, a la parte donde está el desarrollo económico y de negocios.
And then secondly, I serve as the chair of the Education Committee in the Senate. And my reason for wanting to do that is because I think it is critical that we have an education system that works for everyone, no matter where you grew up, no matter where you live, no matter which zip code you live in. And so I've been promoting policies that will ensure that we have strong school systems in all areas of the Commonwealth, including our urban areas.
Él es el que está en la cabeza del Comité de Educación del Senado y él está luchando por un sistema de educación que trabaje para todos, que no importa de dónde vienen, de qué zip code son, de qué ciudad son, lo importante es promover estas leyes o políticas que ayuden al sistema escolar para que sea más fuerte en nuestra comunidad.
Ok, entrando en el área de seguridad, él nos habló un poquito anteriormente. ¿Cómo podemos proteger a los Estados Unidos de individuos y organizaciones que tienen como objetivo crearnos mal?
Going to something you alluded to is how do we protect the U.S. homeland from individuals and organizations that are intent on harming us?
Well, several points. One is we know we can identify the key group or groups that are out to destroy us, and it's a group of radical jihadists, Islamic jihadists called ISIS, who have established a geographic base, and we know they are trying to harm us here and trying to harm folks in other countries. We saw what happened in France, we saw what happened in Belgium, and I think we must take their threat extremely seriously. And in fact, I think we should declare war, and I think we should commit the resources to destroy them today, right where they are.
So yes, es muy severo este caso y lo importante es que ellos ya han identificado quién es el grupo clave, que son los yihades del grupo islámico, y ellos saben que quieren dañar, destruir a Estados Unidos y tanto otros países, como vieron lo de París, lo de Bruselas, y lo sería bueno hacer es declarar guerra en contra de ellos para poder resolver este problema.
Nuestra próxima pregunta es relacionada con el medio ambiente. ¿Cuáles, entiende él, son los mayores problemas ambientales que enfrenta el estado de Pensilvania en estos momentos?
Senator, what are from your opinion, the major, environmental issues that Pennsylvania is facing?
You know, what of the, we're all want to ensure that we protect and preserve the environment here in Pennsylvania. We have some wonderful, beautiful natural areas. And not only that, we have a lot of natural resources here in Pennsylvania. One of the issues that has been very important while I've been there over the past 8 years has been the extraction of natural gas in the Marcellus Shale.
Es muy importante proteger y preservar el medio ambiente. Tenemos aquí unas áreas naturales y unos recursos naturales enormes. Y uno de los temas es lo de Marcellus Shale, que es extraer el gas natural.
And in terms of how we've approached that industry, so this is an industry that is providing some wonderful economic benefits in terms of the jobs creation that comes with it, in terms of the wealth that has been created, in terms of the just impact on our entire economic activity in the Commonwealth. Areas that have been depressed for a long period of time are seeing a lot of new jobs and wealth in their communities. But at the same time, we know that when you're extracting gas and have to transport that gas elsewhere, there's a potential for environmental impact. There is an impact, we know that. And so we have to ensure that our waterways are protected. We have to ensure that there are adequate restraints in place to be sure that the impact we see is mitigated. And I think we got it about right here in Pennsylvania. We've allowed the industry to develop, but at the same time, we have some of the toughest set of regulations for the drillers, and we have an impact fee that goes towards mitigating, goes to the local municipalities to mitigate some of the costs and the impacts associated with the industry.
Esto ha impactado en la forma que ha proveído un desarrollo económico excelente, ha creado trabajos, ha creado dinero, ha impactado en la parte económica de áreas que fueron antes reprimidas. El punto es que ese gas que se extracta de esta tierra tiene que ser transportado a otras partes y puede haber un impacto ambiental. Entonces ellos están creando leyes en que se pueda proteger los pozos de agua, en que haya regulaciones para los que van a penetrar la tierra y sacar esto, y todo esté en un sistema adecuado para hacerlo. Y por ahora va muy bien en lo que han hecho para sacar el gas natural.
En el área de migración, ¿cómo se crea aquí en Estados Unidos un sistema de inmigración que tenga un buen funcionamiento? ¿Y qué, entiende usted, se debe hacer con los 11 millones aproximadamente de personas viviendo en Estados Unidos que son considerados indocumentados?
Senator, how do we create a functional immigration system for the United States? And what do we do with the approximately 11 million individuals who are currently categorized as undocumented?
Sure. So, number one, we should recognize that we are a country of immigrants. And that has made us a wonderful, vibrant community. And right here in Lancaster County, people often think of Lancaster County as just the Pennsylvania Dutch, the Amish, where I came from, but they're often surprised to understand how diverse our population is in this area and how many different languages are spoken. We obviously have a strong Latino community, but not only that, we have folks here from Nepal, Bhutan, many areas of the world, and it makes for this wonderful mix of folks that creates a very vibrant community. So that's number one. Number two, we do need to know who is coming into our country. And so one of the first steps we have to take to fix our immigration system is to secure the borders.
Hay que reconocer que nuestra comunidad es muy vibrante y es gracias a la diversidad que existe de los diferentes países que han llegado acá. Generalmente Lancaster County es conocido como una parte Amish Dutch, pero no, tenemos tantas personas de diferentes países y lenguajes diferentes como Nepal, Afganistán, países de América del Sur. También tenemos que saber lo más importante sería saber quién está entrando a nuestro país, y para hacer eso hay que asegurar el borde.
So number one, securing the border, we have to know who's coming into the country. So whether it's a wall technology, ensuring that we have the adequate resources available through Border Patrol or whatever it might be, we have to know that people out to destroy us aren't coming into the country. And then number two, we have it's a broken system that we have today. You have folks coming here illegally, and then folks who are doing it the right way and waiting in line, and sometimes many years to come through the country. And we can't allow that kind of system to continue.
El segundo es que, aparte del primero, que es asegurar las fronteras, el segundo es que el sistema está quebrado, porque tienen personas que vienen ilegalmente y se quedan, y tienen las personas que vienen legal y están haciendo un proceso que toma años. Entonces hay que identificar este problema.
So we have to stop the illegal immigration, if you will, and we have to provide for an easier path through our legal immigration. And then in terms of the 11 million immigrants who are here, we are a nation of a rule of law. So you have to start with a system that recognizes that if the law has been broken and if some folks have jumped the line behind all of those, have moved ahead of all of those who are waiting legally to do it. So there has to be appropriate a penalty of some sort for individuals who have broken the law, and that means that if you're going to be here, you haven't broken the criminal law. If you are here illegally and have broken the criminal law, then that's one thing. But if you're here, you're paying your taxes, which is what we have to be sure that you're paying taxes. Maybe there's some other penalty that's associated with it. But so there's some path ultimately to legal status, and that's I don't know exactly what that looks like, but you have to start from that premise, and I think we can get it resolved.
Entonces, lo primero que hay que hacer es parar la inmigración ilegal y hacerlo más fácil para los que han aplicado legalmente. De los 11 millones de personas que están aquí, hay que considerar que somos una nación de leyes y estas personas han quebrado las leyes. Entonces, deberíamos en el futuro crear una clase de penalidad para las personas que llegaron ilegalmente, y todo depende pues si tienen algo criminal o si es que si están pagando los impuestos y están trabajando, y eso está mejor, ¿no? Pero no sabemos el sistema exacto que deberían crearse, pero definitivamente las personas que han estado aquí legalmente deberían tener ser consideradas antes de los ilegales.
Senador, hay una fuerte creencia de que existe un puente escuela a prisión para muchos adolescentes afroamericanos y latinos en Estados Unidos. ¿Está de acuerdo? Y si es así, ¿qué estrategias se deben desarrollar para crear caminos de éxito para nuestros jóvenes?
There's a strong belief that there's a school-to-prison pipeline, especially for a lot of African American and Latino youth in the U.S. And first of all, do you agree? And if so, what policies can we create to try to have pathways of success for these young people?
You mentioned school, and I think it starts with our education system, and this is something I've been passionate about in Harrisburg. We have to ensure that our schools, no matter where they're located, are providing the kind of education that our students deserve.
Esto tiene que ver con la educación, con el sistema de educación como es ahora. Yo estoy muy apasionado acerca de este tema, y no importa dónde esté localizada esa escuela, debería ser una educación de calidad para todos.
And in Pennsylvania, I not only have been focused on ensuring that schools have adequate resources, particularly schools with the highest need, but also that there is strong accountability from the state or from the policymakers in the state, so that if a school district is not performing, that changes are made to ensure that the quality of that school improves.
En Pensilvania, él se concentra en que las escuelas tengan recursos, especialmente las escuelas más necesitadas. Y tiene que haber una clase de responsabilidad de las escuelas, de que si no trabajan correctamente, hay que implementar reglas para que sean mejor.
And then secondly, we need to do a better job of preparing individuals for jobs and of connecting people with good paying jobs. And that means, again, the training that comes, so that gets back to education, preparing students for careers, but it also means providing an environment where businesses are creating the jobs that we need.
Lo importante es crear más trabajos y mejores trabajos para estos estudiantes, y esto viene vinculado con la educación. El entrenamiento debería ser hecho en las escuelas y exclusivamente para carreras, y proveer un ambiente que ayude, los negocios provean estos trabajos para los estudiantes.
Continuando en esa línea, para muchos individuos la educación universitaria es una necesidad para tener una carrera profesional o técnica, pero el alto costo y la deuda que resulta de los estudios se está convirtiendo en un obstáculo para lograr sus metas. ¿Hay algo que se puede hacer a nivel federal para aliviar esta situación?
Continuing on another educational issue, for many individuals, higher education is a necessity for pursuing a professional or technical career. Yet the burdensome debt they encounter has become an obstacle for many of them in achieving their aspirations. Is there anything that should be done at the federal level to alleviate this dilemma?
I believe, both in state level and federal level, that we have to think differently about higher education. And in fact, not every student needs a 4-year degree for the career they might choose. And so one of my goals as chair of the Education Committee in the Senate has been to promote different kinds of career paths and promote the jobs and skills, the technical training that prepares students for those careers. I'm not suggesting that a 4-year degree is a bad thing, but it doesn't have to be for everyone. So I'll give you some examples. We have, Tech Centro right here is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the kind of career training that is making a difference in the lives of a lot of individuals. You have Thaddeus Stevens School here in our community that does a wonderful job with a 2-year degree of providing opportunities for kids. They have a 98% placement rate. You have the CTC, which is a career and technical training facilities associated with our school district here in the county that is doing the same thing. So we have to think differently about what it takes for students to be successful in the jobs for today, and we have to provide more than just a 4-year degree. Again, 4-year degree is great, and that's good for a lot of people, but there ought to be other alternatives as well.
Él cree en que hay que empezar a pensar diferente al estatal y nivel federal. No todos necesitan 4 años de estudios y hay que promover el entrenamiento, las habilidades para otras carreras que sean menos de 4 años. Tener 4 años de estudio no es una cosa mala, simplemente que hay tantas diferentes personas que un trabajo de 2 años, una carrera de 2 años, les ayudaría bastante. Por ejemplo, Tech Centro, Thaddeus Stevens, que tienen 2 años de degree o certificado, es exactamente lo que él está hablando. Lo importante es identificar estas carreras y cambiar cómo piensa el Estado federal y estatal.
Según estimaciones del actual jefe de la Administración del Seguro Social, él indica que para el año 2035 el sistema de seguridad social estará insolvente. Básicamente no habrá suficiente dinero para el sistema cubrir sus gastos. ¿Cuáles son sus estrategias para salvaguardar el sistema de seguridad social?
Estimates from the Office of the Chief Actuary of the Social Security Administration indicates that by the year 2035, the Social Security system will be insolvent. Basically, that there's less money coming in to cover the cost of the system. Thus, the Social Security system will not be able to meet its financial needs by the year. What are your strategies for safeguarding the Social Security system?
Sure. So we have to ensure that the promises that were made to our retirees and people who have paid into the system are kept. People have, as I mentioned, paid into the system, have relied on the benefits associated with the system. So we have to, that's the first thing, we have to ensure those promises are kept.
Lo primero que hay que hacer es asegurar a esas personas que ya han pagado en el sistema de seguro social lo que se les prometió, que van a tener el dinero disponible.
But it is true that the system as it currently stands in the future will not be solvent. And so unless we make some changes, we won't be able to keep those promises.
El sistema como está ahora no es solvente y hay que empezar a hacer cambios.
And exactly what those changes may be, I'm not sure, but it needs to be addressed, and it should not affect the benefits for current retirees or for those who are near retirement.
Cambios que se deben hacer, no estoy seguro todavía, pero no debería afectar a las personas que han pagado y los que están pagando en este fondo de seguro social.
And if we talk about this in a broader perspective of the entire budget, the debt that we have in our country, I believe, threatens our future as a country.
Y la deuda que tenemos en este país es una amenaza para este país.
Or at least it mortgages we're asking our kids and our grandkids to pay for what we're doing today.
Y las hipotecas del futuro de los niños y de los nietos.
And this was one of my priorities in Harrisburg and will be in Washington as well. You have to have a budgeting system that is fiscally responsible, and that means that you have to have government that lives within its means.
Y eso significa que hay que tener un presupuesto que está a tiempo y que es fiscalmente responsable.
Finalmente, senador Smucker, déjenos saber por qué los votantes republicanos deben elegirlo a usted como candidato para congresista del Distrito 16 de Pensilvania.
Finally, Senator, why should Republicans select you as the candidate for the 16th Congressional District of Pennsylvania?
Thank you. I have been successful in the private sector, 25 years of business experience. I've lived the American dream. I understand the impact of government overregulation and overreach on the ability of small businesses to create the jobs. They're the ones that are creating the jobs today, and so we have to have policy in place that will ensure they can keep doing that.
Muchas gracias. He sido exitoso en los últimos 25 años como dueño de mi negocio. He vivido el sueño americano y es importante crear trabajos. Él sabe cómo hacerlo. Él entiende la política, el gobierno, de cómo crear trabajos para una comunidad más próspera.
And so I have the private sector experience, but then I've also shown that I'm an effective legislator. I go there to represent the entire community that I represent and try to make life better for the residents of my community. I go there to solve problems and to find solutions to what are very difficult issues. And so it's been a wonderful pleasure of mine and a privilege of mine to represent this community. And I think I'm the right person to do that in Washington as well.
Debido a que no solo tengo la experiencia del sector privado, también tengo la experiencia en la parte legislativa y he sido muy exitoso en esa parte. Lo más importante para el senador es hacer una vida mejor para todos y encontrar soluciones para los problemas que existen actualmente. Es un privilegio de él haber servido a la comunidad.
Thank you. Gracias, Cynthia. No se olviden que las primarias en Pensilvania se llevan a cabo el día 26 de abril. Este segmento, Camino a las Primarias en Pensilvania, ha sido una producción especial de WLSH Radio Centro y Telecentro.